Quick video. I wanted to talk about Miami a little bit because I have been recently, the conversations that have been coming up on podcasts and talking to people on Twitter have been Tua. Tua's undervalued. I don't understand why we're so low on him having seen so little of him in the NFL. I mean, we're still kind of unsure about Sam Darnold and Carson Wentz, and yet Tua went from, tank for Tua to, Tua. Okay, I'm not a quarterback evaluator, but that seems like a pretty quick turnaround for a guy who's played relatively little in the NFL so far, and so that just seems, as a guy who doesn't, I don't know what a good quarterback looks like, I really don't until it happens, that just seems a little quick. So, thinking about that, and also thinking about Will Fuller, like imagining the beauty of a healthy Will Fuller season, and then Miami trade for him, I'm like, okay, so if off a PED suspension, to be fair, but his injuries, as I understand them, are not likely to reoccur. They're not the type that particularly often see reoccurrence, but, having had Will Fuller a lot in Dynasty, I don't know it exactly feels that way. But also tying that back into his college and listening to smart people who actually do physiotherapy, the fact that he was healthy in college tends to indicate that these new injuries are not something initially about him, but maybe his training regimen, so on and so forth, something that, again, shouldn't necessarily be part of his game. So I'm excited about Will Fuller, and Miami sign him, trade for him. Which was it? I forget. I honestly don't know. I think they just signed him in free agency, right? The latest update was Will Fuller assuring Miami Dolphins that the PED suspension was a one-time thing, which, no comment. But, I'm just generally excited about Will Fuller. And then they trade down and trade up. And what's going on in Miami? And so, what are my thoughts? Tell you what, let's get the news feed up here from now not Royal Underworld, but instead NBC Sports Edge, apparently, and talk about it a little bit. Alright, that's just a more fun visualization than my face. And hey, I'm down here now. Honestly, I listened to DLF, Addison Hayes, on the DLF channel. Make sure you check it out, since I'm a senior writer for DLF. That'd be neat of you. I appreciate that. But I listened to Addison Hayes. I know, I'm reading it maybe a little differently. I'm not seeing a team move back and forward, like away from being interested in quarterback and therefore it being positive for Tua, and then re-interested in quarterback by trading back up for the 6th round pick. What I'm seeing is a smart team making good value decisions to move their pick around and gain value. Now, that last trade gave up, I believe, a 1st round pick next year, which, I think this team's now being managed by a dynasty owner, to be honest with you, which is neat. But I see them as value moves. I see them moving down to acquire value, away from quarterback, which is positive for Tua, and then move back up. And I really think the quarterbacks are going to go particularly early this year. Like Zach Wilson's rumored to go with the number 2 pick right now. As part of those trade negotiations, Philadelphia was interested in trading for number 3 off Miami, and then stopped being interested in it, presumably indicating that Zach Wilson, who they were apparently, although how much can we trust that news, interested in, might even be going at 2. As I understand it. Either way, I think the quarterbacks are going early, and I don't think acquiring the 6th pick after trading down to the 12th is a sign they want to move up to get a quarterback and perhaps challenge Tua. But even if they did, I haven't seen enough of him to suggest that any new quarterback from this draft class would be better or worse. I mean, he had a great college season, so even had a great college career. So even the best quarterbacks in this class also had good college careers, and so it's a non-equal proposition to me. Okay, we'll see which one breaks out. But instead, I think they're trading back up to acquire more talent around him. They added Will Fuller. They're moving around to acquire value. They're giving up next round's pick in order to do this, which to me suggests they're going all in on the team as it is right now. They're traded away from getting quarterback and then back in to get more, hopefully, offensive talent, but it might be, I'm not an NFL draft analysis, it might be O-line, a defensive line, or something that can help them out earlier. And to me, what it reads like is a team that's making some really interesting moves. I'm reading excitement about the season. It all seems like maybe my hope that those fading Tua because of a limited NFL experience, and to be fair, a lack of accuracy, specifically on the deep ball, although not league worst, like not quite as accurate as we hoped he would be in the NFL compared to his college. But again, he's barely played in the NFL yet, so he's just getting his feet wet. So ultimately, like, these moves just make me think the team is active, it's conscious, it's really interested in pushing forward with the roster it has, adding more talent. This draft class, while making interesting GM moves, like this all reads as positive to me. But maybe that's just me. Let me know what you think, of course. But like, I was just playing Tua on a value aspect right now, and I really do like Will Fuller. I really think a full healthy season could be like the highest of upside right now, especially at his cost right now, according to Dynasty League ADP, which, as we've discussed, ADP doesn't necessarily reflect trade cost. That's a little bit of a calculation that doesn't quite work, but I still think Will Fuller's acquirable in Dynasty, and the upside available is disproportionate to his current investment. And yeah, I know his health concerns are a problem. Just because they're not likely to reoccur doesn't mean they won't be. Again, I've experienced that Will Fuller ride as well. But this is the first literal sign that there is moves by the team that to me indicate they're really invested in the now and not next season. Trading away last week's pick, trading away from the premium quarterback picks, to me mean they're not. I mean, if Lawrence falls to them, I'm sure maybe, but I doubt it. They're not targeting a quarterback, they're targeting high talent and moving around to get the best value they can on that talent by moving back to the 12 and moving on to the 6. That to me doesn't speak of wanting a quarterback. That to me speaks of wanting to add more talent around Tua and for this team in general. So we'll have to see what they do in the draft, but this is the first tangible evidence to me that my value interest in Tua and also Will Fuller could actually be added together with something in the real world to suggest this team is really trying to improve their chances soon, like for the 2021 season, and giving up future assets like the 2020 second first in order to do it, to me means they're really working on it right now. So I'm not a GM, I can't speak to if it's smart or poor team management. To me, it just speaks that there's legitimate reason to be excited about what they're trying to do. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at. That's what I think of the moves recently. Also, looks to be a crazy draft after a fairly, despite some people's attempt, I think it was a fairly disappointing free agency season. Kenny Golladay moved, that's nice. Will Fuller ended up in Miami. I think we hoped for some more blockbuster events than that, despite there are some very interesting ones, especially going on in New England. But I think Miami might be it's on the bad team list, but it's really pushing right now to get on the good team for fantasy list. And again, they're not interested in fantasy, but we are. And so I see this as, like I said, I'm actually starting to get excited because some of my value bets, and maybe it's just what we call it, confirmation bias. I'm already interested in terms of value, then they start making moves and they get too excited. But no, that's what I'm doing. No, I'm really interested in Tua, really interested in Fuller. I'm really interested to see what they end up doing with those draft picks that they just traded away. Well, not what they do with the ones they traded away, but what the ones they just acquired, the 6th overall pick. And I think that'll give us more confirmation, one way or the other, about whether they're trying to build around Tua or maybe add a new quarterback. But I really think it really feels like they're trying to build around. They're all in on this offense, and the fact they traded back up to me doesn't make me less concerned with it. So if the fact that they did trade back up to the 6th makes some people more wary, I don't think so. If anything, I'd be more wary about Philadelphia, since they seem to have been specifically interested in moving up to get a quarterback. Maybe a little more concerning for Jalen Hurts than most. I still think he has rushing upside. Right now his price is at what his upside is, probably. But if you really like the player because of your process, and I'm not a quarterback evaluator, I'm not talking you off it, but that would be the concern for quarterbacks and which team has intentions that don't correlate, I guess, to what I want or expect in fantasy in 2021. For me, Miami, I'm even more excited that those value bets that I've been trying to take and more interested in take in this team. Now, I will say I've been fooled by Miami before, so it stays on the bad team list for a reason. But pretty interested, pretty excited. Let me know what you think. Actually, before I get out of here, I just made a video for the DLF channel on the top 3 worst players in DLF's top 12 rookie wide receiver ranks. Bit of a mouthful, but I wanted to give Addison Hayes a break. He's basically holding down our... I write for DLF. I'm a senior writer over there. He's making all the YouTube content. So I thought I'd try and, not make him have to do all of that, because he needs to sleep sometime as well. So be sure to check out their channel. Hopefully they'll like the video and they'll upload it there. And okay, that's all the news. That's all the updates. That's what I'm doing. And really excited about Miami. Okay, thanks. Bye. See you later. I suck at this outro thing. Still, I'll get better. One day. One day. Anyway, appreciate it, guys. Talk to you again next time. Bye.